Messianic 7 News Presentation. Presenting to you Messianic news based on Christians and Jews' worldview in Yeshua our true Messiah.
The Israeli Prime Minister recently made a public statement about the Arab-Muslim violence in Israel that is extremely worrying and shows clearly to me why he cannot be a leader of Israel. He also stopped Jews from worshiping on Temple Mount. When Lapid talks about two-state solution, he isn't talking to Mahmoud Abbas. Reindorsing the two-state solution, the Israeli PM sought to win left-wing votes, but even if he wins the election, he'll have to form a coalition with M.Ks who oppose a Palestinian state. Netanyahu has created an alternative Likud, another significant milestone in the transformation of the party to a one-man, one-family movement. What is it that a party head can want for himself in the midst of an endless election campaign if not to generate discourse, set the agenda, spark ideological debate? Prime Minister Yair Lapid managed to obtain this holiday gift for himself at the General Assembly. A few generic sentences about the need for a two-state solution on condition that the Palestinian state will seek peace and not become another base for terror has incited a godawful riot in our little shtetl straight out of Fiddler on the Roof.
In the government which I lead, there are Arab ministers. There is an Arab party as a member of our coalition. We have Arab judges in our Supreme Court, Arab doctors saving lives in our hospitals. Israeli Arabs are not our enemies. They are our partners in life. Come and visit us. You will discover that Israel is an incredible cultural mosaic, from the white snowy mountains of the Golan to the white desert sand of the Negev. From Tel Aviv, the high-tech capital, a non-stop party on the Mediterranean Sea, to Jerusalem, our eternal capital, the holy city for three religions in whose beautiful streets the past meets the future every single day. There are, however, two major threats hanging over the head of our wonderful country. They also hang over your heads, even though you may try to deny them. The first is the nuclear threat. The fear that terrorist states and terrorist organizations will get their hands on nuclear weapons. The second threat is the demise of truth. It embodies within it the entire might of human spirit. War is a surrender to all that is bad within us. Peace is the victory of all that is good. Despite all the obstacles, still today, a large majority of Israelis support the vision of the two-state solution. I am one of them. We have only one condition: that the future Palestinian state will be a peaceful one, that it will not become another terror base from which to threaten the well-being and the very existence of Israel, that we will have the ability to protect the security of all the citizens of Israel at all times.
Lapid put the heartland of Israel at question: Shechem, Bethel, Hebron, and Jerusalem, the very place Abraham walked the earth and Elohim made covenant with him. Exodus chapter 12 to 21. I am afraid. Genesis 12 to 6 to 9:6. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land. 7. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. 8. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon. 9. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. Two-state solutions is a slap on God's face.
Antisemitism is growing on Temple Mount. Recently, the caretaker Prime Minister of Israel stopped Jews from praying and worshiping on the Temple Mount. Just remember that. Prime Minister of Israel, Yair Lapid, stopping the Jews from worshiping and praying on the Temple Mount. It is a clear anti-Semitism within Israeli government. Jews are forbidden from entering the Temple Mount, believe it or not.
באל-אקצא, אני
הגדרתי בכל במה אפשרית, אנחנו לא משנים את הסטטוס קוו באל-אקצא. ואנחנו נדאג לחופש הפולחן של מוסלמים באל-אקצא. ברמדאן עלו, אני לא יודע, 1,000,000 איש להתפלל באל-אקצא, ואנחנו דאגנו לזה שהם יוכלו לעלות ולהתפלל, כי זו חובתנו כממשלה, לאפשר חופש פולחן לכל מוסלמי שרוצה לבוא להתפלל באל-אקצא, ואנחנו נשמור על זה. אנחנו בקשר מתמיד עם הוואקף, עם הירדנים, עם כל מי שנוגע לנושא, כדי לוודא שחופש הפולחן המוסלמי באל-אקצא יישמר. זה שיש יותר עליות יהודים, אנחנו מאפשרים עליית יהודים, אנחנו לא מאפשרים תפילות יהודים על הר הבית, אנחנו מאפשרים עליית יהודים, הם עולים, זה נמצא תחת השגחה כדי לוודא שלא מופר הסטטוס קוו, לא יופר הסטטוס קוו.
Tom Nisani, Executive Director of Bayadinu Organization and Chief Executive Officer of Temple Mount Heritage Foundation, described how he couldn't believe how badly discriminated Jews are in Jerusalem, and on the Temple Mount, spread the word.
Hey, we're here on the closed Temple Mount for Jews for the 7th day. We're here to protest about the closing of the mount to Jews only, while yesterday night dozens of Muslims on the mount up there shouted to kill Jews, while we are here staying and hoping to get inside the mount to pray to our holiest site. And also it is so painful to see the PLO flag waving up on the Dome of the Rock, while the police don't do anything to remove it. And many tourists here also see it and ask why there is a PLO flag on the Temple Mount. So this is the situation here from the entrance to the mount. We will be here to protest until the mount will be in our hands.
So Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid recently blamed Arab-Muslim violence on a fellow Jewish politician for, get this, blowing a shofar outside of the Temple Mount.
וקיימו דיון איך מוודאים שזה לא יגרום להתלקחות שתבעיר את כל ירושלים, תסכן את הלוחמים שלנו ותעלה בחיי אדם. ואף אחד לא העלה את השאלה הפשוטה, למה הוא עושה את זה? איפה ביהדות מופיעה המצווה לתקוע בשופר באמצע בית קברות מוסלמי? האם יש מחסור בבתי כנסת יהודים בירושלים? האם יש מחסור במקומות קדושים בירושלים? האם אין מקומות אחרים בירושלים שאפשר לתקוע בהם בשופר? והתשובה היא כמובן שהוא עשה את זה בשביל להבעיר את ירושלים, בשביל שתהיה אלימות ואנשים ייפגעו.
Follow me as you understand why this man, Yair Lapid, should not be voted for and definitely not be a leader of the Jewish state of Israel. Welcome back to the Pulse of Israel. I am your host, Avi Abelo, with the politically incorrect truth to inspire you for a better tomorrow based on the truth. You know what to do. If you are not yet a subscriber, just visit pulseofisrael.com and subscribe. First of all, understand, Arab Muslims are violent because they are taught from kindergarten to kill Jews and destroy the Jewish state of Israel. The fact that we have a prime minister who ignores this simple fact is not just embarrassing, but extremely dangerous. That's not a leader. Next, Israeli politician Simcha Rothman, who he calls out, did not blow a shofar in the middle of a Muslim cemetery. He blew a shofar right outside the eastern wall of the Temple Mount. There is a public path right there for people to walk on as they walk along the Temple Mount wall on the eastern side. Plenty of people walk there every day. It just so happens that a number of years ago, some Muslims decided to bury some of their family members in that public area. Why? In order to block the gate of mercy that goes into the Temple Mount. You know what's so special about the gate of mercy? The Messiah is supposed to enter the Temple Mount through the gate of mercy. So of course the Muslims wanted to stop the Jewish Messiah from coming. So they think that by burying their dead right in front of the gate of mercy to the Temple Mount, that will stop the Messiah from coming. It just shows you how little faith those Muslims have in God above. If God can create the whole universe, You don't think he can be able to have the Messiah enter the Temple Mount, even though some Muslims buried their dead in front of the gate of mercy where he's supposed to enter? But most important of all, it is absolutely disgraceful that a sitting Prime Minister of Israel publicly blames Arab-Muslim violence on a Jew for acting like a Jew. The only reason the Israeli politician Simcha Rothman blew the shofar outside the eastern wall of the Temple Mount is because the authorities forbid Jews from blowing the shofar on the Temple Mount. So Simcha went to the closest place he could outside the eastern wall of the Temple Mount. The Jewish people deserve leaders who know how to stand up proudly for our Jewish identity and protect ourselves. We deserve leaders who understand that only with a strong Jewish state of Israel will all Israeli citizens be safe. When the Arab Muslims know that we have weak leaders who work against our own rights in living as proud Jews in our ancestral homeland, and instead our leaders appease our Arab Muslim enemies, who then threaten violence and terror against us, well, that only motivates our enemies to escalate their violence and terror against us. I can't believe any proud Jew could even think of voting for Yair Lapid and his party in these elections. Lapid represents the godlessness and the godless Jewish identity that wants to strip the Jewish state of Israel of its strong Jewish character. If that would happen, would be a disaster, not just for the Jews, but for all Israeli citizens, including the non-Jewish Israeli citizens. Regardless, God above is running the show. If Lapid is prime minister, it's all part of the painful wake-up process we all must go through to really want and deserve the good times that are coming. We'll just have to suffer until we get them. Am Yisrael Chai. The Jewish people live. We are home, and no matter what weak Jewish leaders we have to suffer through, we will continue to thrive and build up this miraculous little country, Israel, to be a light unto the nations.
Please support us. See the contact link below.
This is Messianic 7 News presentation, presenting to you Messianic news based on Christians and Jews' worldview in Yeshua our true Messiah.